My husband walked past me in the hospital hallway with a bouquet of white roses in his hand. I was still bleeding through a maternity pad, holding our newborn daughter against my chest, and those flowers were not for me. When he saw me, he did not stop, he only tightened his grip on the roses and said, "Olivia, not now." So I did not scream, I did not beg, I shifted my daughter higher against my shoulder, opened my phone with one shaking thumb and saved the photo I had just taken of him walking into Vanessa Reed's hospital room. Then I turned off my shared location. My daughter was 16 hours old when I learned exactly how little my marriage weighed in my husband's hands. She was wrapped in a hospital blanket with pink and blue stripes, her tiny mouth moving in sleep against the collar of my robe. I had not slept more than 20 minutes since labor began. My legs still trembled when I stood, every muscle below my ribs felt torn and stitched together with fire, but I had been waiting. Ethan had promised he would come back before discharge rounds. One meeting, he had said over the phone at 6 that morning, "I know, Liv, I know I missed the delivery, but I'll make it up to you. I swear I'll be there when you leave the hospital." He had said it with the tired patience of a man humoring an emotional woman. I had wanted to believe him. That was the most humiliating part, not that he lied, not that he missed the birth of his first child, not even that I had gripped Nurse Elena's hand while I screamed instead of his. The humiliating part was that some soft, ruined corner of me had still waited for him. At 2 in the afternoon, I stood in the hallway outside the maternity ward because my daughter would not settle, and walking helped. My discharge papers were tucked under one arm. My hospital bag was still in my room, my hair was pulled back badly, I had milk dried on the front of my gown. Then the elevator doors opened. Ethan stepped out wearing the navy coat I had picked out for him last Christmas. He looked freshly showered, his hair was combed back. In his left hand, he carried an expensive bouquet of white roses wrapped in pale gold paper. For one breath, my stupid heart lifted. Then I saw the card, Vanessa. Her name was written in large black script on the envelope tied to the ribbon. The hallway narrowed around me. Ethan saw me, his eyes flicked to the baby, then to my face, then to the flowers. It was quick, too quick. But I saw the calculation move through him, not guilt, annoyance. "Olivia," he said under his breath, like I had embarrassed him by existing in the wrong place. I stared at the roses. He shifted them slightly behind his leg. "You should be in your room. Our daughter is in my arms," I said. My voice sounded strange, calm, almost thin. "You missed her birth." His jaw tightened. "I told you I had an emergency with Vanessa." His silence answered before his mouth did. A woman laughed from the far end of the hallway. A nurse pushed a cart past us and slowed just enough to sense the violence hidden in the quiet. Ethan stepped closer. "Keep your voice down." I almost laughed. I had labored alone for 14 hours. I had signed my own consent forms. I had watched the monitor dip and heard a doctor say, "We need to move quickly." I had looked toward the door every time it opened, and now he was worried about my volume. "Is she sick?" I asked. His eyes hardened. "She had a panic episode." I looked at the bouquet again. White roses for a panic episode. "She has no one here." I looked down at the newborn sleeping against me. The silence between us became so sharp I felt it touch bone. Ethan exhaled, impatient. "Don't do this today." "Today?" I repeated. "You're exhausted, you're hormonal, I understand that." There it was, the first brick in the wall he was already building. If I cried, I was unstable. If I shouted, I was irrational. If I objected, I was jealous. If I walked away, I was dramatic. He had the story ready before I even reacted, so I gave him nothing. I lifted my phone. His eyes dropped to it. "What are you doing?" "Checking the time." That was not true. I had already opened the camera. My thumb pressed once. The photo captured him in the hallway with the roses, Vanessa's name visible on the card, our newborn's blanket in the corner of the frame, a small, ordinary piece of evidence at the time. I did not know how important it would become. Ethan glanced toward the room numbers. "Go back to your room, I'll come by later." "Which room is hers?" His face changed. "That isn't your business. Your wife and newborn are being discharged today, and you're carrying flowers to another woman's hospital room." I think it became my business. Vanessa almost hurt herself last night. My stomach went cold, not because I did not care if a person was in danger. I did. I had cared too much for too long. Vanessa had been almost hurt, almost abandoned, almost unable to cope, almost out of options for 2 years. Every crisis happened on my birthday, our anniversary, his mother's surgery, my fertility appointments, and now my daughter's birth. She was always almost something, and Ethan always went. Then I hope she gets the help she needs, I said. For the first time his expression faltered. He expected tears, questions, accusations, a scene he could later describe as postpartum instability. My daughter made a soft sound in her sleep. I looked at her tiny face and felt something inside me lock into place. Not break, lock. I need to finish discharge, I said. Ethan frowned. I'll come after I check on her. No, I said. You won't. He blinked. Excuse me. I said no. The nurse at the station looked up. Ethan stepped closer, lowering his voice. Olivia, you need to be careful right now. I knew that tone. It was the one he used at dinner parties when I disagreed with him. Soft enough to sound reasonable. Sharp enough to cut. Careful with what? I asked. With making decisions when you're emotional. I nodded once, then I walked around him. He did not reach for the baby. He did not ask to hold her. He did not say her name. He let me pass because he believed I was going back to my room to cry. Behind me, I heard his shoes continue down the hallway, not toward maternity, toward Vanessa at the nurse's station. Elena looked at my face and said softly, Mrs. Walker, my discharge papers. I said, can we finish them now? Her eyes moved past me toward the hallway where Ethan had disappeared. I saw the moment she understood enough to stop asking questions. Of course, she said. My hands shook while I signed. My daughter slept. The pen scratched across paper like a blade through thread. Elena checked my blood pressure again. Do you have someone to drive you home? Home, the word landed wrong. The house Ethan and I lived in was not home anymore. Maybe it had not been for a long time. It was a place where I had learned to lower my expectations slowly enough not to notice the shape of my own surrender. I do, I said. That was not true yet. I opened my contacts and stared at my oldest brother's name, Daniel Bennett. I had not called him during labor because Ethan said it would make me look like I did not trust my husband. I had not called Marcus when Ethan missed Thanksgiving because Vanessa had a bad night. I had not called Noah when I found the first hotel charge because Ethan said business clients used hotel restaurants all the time. I had mistaken silence for loyalty. I pressed Daniel's number. He answered on the second ring. Liv. I had planned to sound composed. I failed on his name. Dan. His voice changed instantly. Where are you? The hospital. The baby. She's here. She's okay. Are you okay? No one had asked me that all day. I closed my eyes. No, I said. Can you come get us? There was 1 second of silence, then a chair scraped on his end. I'm leaving now. Don't call Ethan. I won't. And Dan, yeah. I looked down the hallway where my husband had vanished with flowers for another woman. Bring the car seat. Daniel arrived in 34 minutes. I know because I counted each one, not because I doubted him, but because counting kept me from walking down the hall to Vanessa's room and becoming the version of myself Ethan wanted me to be. The screaming wife, the jealous mother, the unstable postpartum woman who could be dismissed with a sympathetic shake of the head. So I counted. Elena brought me water. Another nurse helped me change into loose black pants and a sweater from my hospital bag. My hands moved slowly, as if they belonged to someone else. Every time I bent, pain sparked through my abdomen and back. My daughter woke hungry. I sat on the edge of the bed, learned how to help her latch again, and stared at the empty doorway. Ethan still did not come. I checked my phone once. No missed calls. No texts asking if we were discharged. No photos requested. Nothing. But I did see a new post from Vanessa Reed. It was a close-up of white roses in a glass vase by a hospital window. The caption read, "Some people show up when it matters." I stared at the words until they blurred, then I took a screenshot. That was the second piece of evidence. Daniel walked in carrying a car seat, a diaper bag, and the expression he used when negotiating with men who thought money made them untouchable. He stopped just inside the room. His eyes went to my face first, then the baby, then the empty visitor chair beside the bed. Where is he? The question was calm, too calm. With Vanessa, Daniel did not ask who Vanessa was. My brothers knew more than I had admitted aloud. They had seen the missed dinners, the cancelled holidays, the way I explained Ethan's absences before anyone asked. Daniel set the car seat down carefully. Did he hurt you? I looked at my daughter. Not with his hands. His mouth tightened. I handed him the discharge folder. I want copies of everything, time of admission, delivery records, visitor logs if I can get them. The nurse saw him in the hall with flowers. I took a photo. Daniel took the folder but did not move. Liv, are you asking me as your brother or as a lawyer? Both. That was the first time I heard myself clearly. Daniel nodded. Then first, as your brother, I'm getting you and my niece out of here. As a lawyer, I'm telling you not to go back to that house alone. I wasn't planning to. His eyes softened for half a second. Good. Elena entered with a wheelchair. I almost refused it out of pride, then remembered pride had never protected me. Evidence would, boundaries would help. When chosen freely would. I sat. Daniel adjusted the baby in the car seat with awkward tenderness, his large hands careful around the tiny buckles. She has your mouth, he said. I looked down at her for the first time that day. I smiled. Her name is Lily. His face changed. Lily Bennett Walker, he asked. No, I said quietly. Lily Grace Bennett. Daniel looked at me and I saw the question. Ethan wasn't there when they brought the birth certificate form, I said. I left the father section blank until I decide what is safest. Daniel's eyes sharpened. Did he know? He didn't ask. There were many ways for a marriage to end. Some ended with shouting, some with affairs exposed in restaurants, some with lawyers and locked doors. Mine ended with a blank line on a birth certificate form and a bouquet of flowers meant for another woman. At the hospital exit, cold air hit my face. The world outside was painfully normal. Cars moved through the drop-off lane. A man helped his wife into a minivan while holding balloons that said it's a girl. An older couple cried over a baby photo. Daniel pulled his SUV to the curb. Before I stood from the wheelchair, Elena touched my shoulder. Mrs. Walker, she said softly. I wrote down my direct extension on the back of your discharge instructions, in case you need to confirm anything about who was present today. My throat tightened. Thank you. Her eyes flicked to my sleeping daughter. Take care of both of you. I will. As Daniel drove away, I looked back at the hospital entrance. Ethan did not come running out. Of course he didn't. He did not even know we had left. In the car, Daniel kept his voice even. Where do you want to go? Your place if that's okay, Olivia. I know, stupid question. Very stupid. The baby made a small squeak in the back seat. I twisted as far as my body allowed, checking her straps. Daniel glanced at me. Marcus and Noah are already on their way. I closed my eyes. You called them. I texted. No details. They'll overreact. They're your brothers. Overreacting is in the job description. Despite everything, a weak laugh escaped me. It broke into something close to a sob, but Daniel pretended not to notice. That was kindness too. Halfway to Daniel's house, my phone rang. Ethan. His name filled the screen like an old wound. Daniel saw it. You don't have to answer. I know. But I did, not because I owed him, because I wanted the first call recorded. Daniel tapped the dashboard screen and connected my phone through the car system. Then he pressed record on his own device and set it in the cup holder without a word. I answered. Ethan, where the hell are you? No hello, no is Lily okay? No are you safe? Just ownership startled to find itself misplaced. We left the hospital. A pause. What do you mean you left? I was discharged. I told you I'd come by. You told me many things. His breath sharpened. In the background I heard a woman's voice. Vanessa, soft, nervous, close. Are you with your brother? He asked. Yes, Olivia, this is insane. You don't take my child and disappear. My child. Daniel's hands tightened on the steering wheel. You weren't there to take her anywhere. I said, don't start that. I had an emergency. Vanessa's roses looked expensive. Silence, then his voice dropped. You're spying on me now. You walked past me in a public hospital hallway. You're twisting this. No, I'm finally looking at it straight. Vanessa murmured something in the background. Ethan covered the phone, but not well enough. I heard her say, maybe she shouldn't be alone with the baby if she's acting like this. My blood went still. Daniel looked at me sharply. Ethan came back on. Listen to me, you're tired, you're upset. Bring Lily home and we'll talk. No. The word was quiet, but it filled the car. Another pause. You don't get to say no to me about my daughter, Ethan said. Then remember you have one. I ended the call. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from the effort of not giving him the fight he wanted. Daniel looked at the road. That was good. It didn't feel good. It wasn't supposed to. It was supposed to be useful. Useful. I held on to that word. At Daniel's house, Marcus was already waiting on the porch. He had left a meeting downtown and still wore his detective's old habit of scanning the street before looking at faces. Noah pulled in 2 minutes later in a work truck with a security company logo on the side. They did not crowd me. They did not ask why I had stayed so long. They carried bags, installed a bassinet, checked window locks, warmed soup, and pretended not to see me cry when Marcus picked up Lily and whispered, "Hey, little fighter." That night, after I fed my daughter and laid her down beside my bed, I opened my laptop. Ethan had changed the password to our shared credit card account. I stared at the error message. Then I opened my own bank account. the one my mother had made me promise never to close before she died. For years, Ethan had called it unnecessary. Marriage means trust. He used to say no. Marriage meant a man could miss his child's birth and still think he had the right to control the ride home. I changed every password, email, banking, cloud storage, medical portal, phone plan, then I opened a new folder and named it Lily. Inside I saved the hallway photo, Vanessa's flower post, the call recording, my discharge documents, and a note with exact times. At 11:43 p.m. Ethan texted, "Stop embarrassing yourself. Come home tomorrow." I looked at my daughter sleeping in the dim light, then I typed one sentence. No, I did not send anything else. For 3 days Ethan treated my silence like a door that would eventually open if he knocked hard enough. He called 31 times, he texted apologies that were not apologies. You misunderstood. Vanessa was in crisis. You know how fragile she is. Don't punish me by keeping Lily away. My mother is asking questions. This looks bad. Liv, that last message told me everything. Not I miss my daughter, not I hurt you. This looks bad. On the first day, Daniel filed notice that I had retained counsel. On the second, Rachel Kim agreed to represent me after a video call during which I nursed Lily under a blanket and apologized twice for crying. Rachel only said, "Don't apologize for having a body. That just gave birth." I liked her immediately. On the third morning, Marcus brought breakfast and a printed packet. "Found something," he said. Daniel looked up from the dining table where he was sorting my medical records. I was sitting on the couch with Lily against my shoulder, half asleep and half terrified in the way only a new mother can be. Every sound from her mouth felt urgent, every silence felt worse. "What?" I asked. Marcus set the packet down. "Hotel charges. Ethan used the joint card at the Langford last night. Dinner for two, room service, valet." My stomach dipped, not because I was surprised, because part of me still wanted to be. Noah leaned against the kitchen counter. "The card is in your name too." "Yes," I said, "but he locked me out." Daniel's eyes lifted. "He didn't remove your legal access. He changed the password." Different problem. Marcus tapped the paper. "He's there now." I looked at my brothers one by one. They were waiting for me, not deciding, not commanding, waiting. It was such a small thing, but after years of Ethan making choices and calling them ours, it almost undid me. "What do you want to do?" Daniel asked. I looked down at Lily. Her cheek rested against me, warm and impossibly soft. 3 days ago, Ethan had walked past her. Now he was in a hotel with the woman he said had no one. I thought about going there myself. I thought about standing in that hallway, postpartum and shaking, letting him see what he had made of me. Then I thought of Vanessa's voice on the phone. Maybe she shouldn't be alone with the baby. No, I would not walk into a trap built for my humiliation. "I want him served," I said. Daniel's expression sharpened with approval. "Temporary custody notice and financial preservation letter." "Yes, and I want the hotel charge documented." Marcus nodded. "I'll go as witness." Noah pushed off the counter. "I'll drive." Daniel looked at me. "You don't have to be there." "I know. Do you want to be?" I looked toward the bassinet Daniel had set up in the living room, the tiny folded blankets, the bottles lined up after sterilizing. "No," I said. "I want to be exactly where he forgot I was needed." At 2:16 p.m. my brothers found him. I know because Marcus called me from the hallway outside Suite 908 and put the phone in his pocket, connected but silent. I sat at Daniel's kitchen table with Lily sleeping beside me and listened. There was a knock, then another, a muffled male voice. "Ethan." "What now?" The door opened. A woman's laugh stopped mid-breath. Marcus spoke first. "Ethan Walker, what the hell is this?" Daniel's voice followed, smooth and professional. "I'm Daniel Bennett, Olivia's brother, and attorney for preliminary family matters. You've been notified that she has retained counsel. These documents are for you." A rustle of paper. Ethan's voice went cold. "You came to my hotel room. Your marital credit card came to your hotel room," Marcus said. "Who are you to track me?" "Her brother," Marcus replied. "And a witness," Vanessa said. "Ethan, what's going on?" I heard fabric move, a glass clinked. My mind supplied too many images, so I stared at Lily's hand instead. Her fingers opened and closed around nothing. Daniel continued. "This letter instructs you not to remove, hide, transfer, or spend marital funds outside ordinary expenses. It also gives notice that Olivia is seeking temporary physical custody based on the circumstances surrounding the birth and discharge of your child." "My child," Ethan snapped. "She stole my child." My whole body went cold. Daniel's voice did not change. "Careful," She left the hospital without telling me, Marcus said. You were in another patient's room. A silence, Vanessa whispered. Ethan. Ethan lowered his voice. Olivia is unstable, she just had a baby, she's acting irrational, Daniel said. Then it was especially unfortunate that you left her alone in the maternity ward while you checked into a hotel with Ms. Reed. That's none of your business. Your use of marital funds is very much our business. Another silence then. Vanessa, sharp now, marital funds. The shift in her voice was small but revealing. She had not known, or she had pretended not to. Ethan said, "Stay out of this, Vanessa." Daniel said, "Ms. Reed may want to stay in it. Her medical bills, hotel charges, and gifts appear to be relevant. You have no right." Ethan said, "Actually," Daniel replied, "Olivia does." For the first time in 3 days I heard Ethan breathe like a man who had reached for a railing and found air. "Put her on the phone," he demanded. "No." Daniel said, "She's my wife, at the moment." The words landed so cleanly that even through the phone, I felt the room change. Ethan laughed once, ugly and disbelieving. "You think Olivia is going to divorce me?" I looked at my daughter. Daniel said, "I think you should read the documents." "She won't do it." I closed my eyes. That was the center of him, not love, not even denial, confidence. He believed I had no bottom, no final line, no self left that did not answer to him. Daniel said, "You made that assumption in the hospital hallway. It did not serve you well." Then Marcus ended the call. A minute later my phone rang. Ethan, I let it go to voicemail. He called again. I watched Lily sleep again. Noah texted. He looked scared now. I did not smile. Fear was not remorse, it was only control, realizing the lock had changed. That evening, Daniel and Marcus returned with copies of the served documents and photographs of Ethan accepting them. Noah brought back the car seat base from my old car, which Ethan had left in our garage under a pile of golf equipment. "Your house has cameras," Noah said. "Front door, garage, nursery, back hall. Do you still have access?" I nodded slowly. "I installed them after the break-in on Cedar Street." Ethan said I was paranoid. "Can you log in?" I opened the app for 1 second. I expected another password error. But the feed opened. The nursery appeared first. Empty crib, cream walls, a mobile of wooden stars. The room I had painted myself at 7 months pregnant while Ethan answered Vanessa's calls in the driveway. Then the front hall camera loaded. Ethan's mother stood in my house. She was holding a key. Beside her were 2 movers. Daniel leaned closer. "Is she supposed to be there?" "No," I said on screen. Margaret Walker pointed toward the stairs and said something to the movers. They started carrying boxes down from the nursery. My daughter's nursery. Something hot and clean moved through me. Not panic, not grief, rage with a spine. I picked up my phone and called Rachel. When she answered I said, "My mother-in-law is in my house removing my baby's things. I have live camera access. Tell me exactly what to do." Rachel did not waste a word. "Do not go there," she said. "Record the camera feed, save it to cloud storage, take screenshots with timestamps, then call the non-emergency police line and report unauthorized removal of property from the residence. My mother-in-law has a key. Did you give her permission to enter today?" "No." "Then say that." Daniel was already screen recording. Noah took my laptop and mirrored the feed onto the television so we could see every angle. Marcus stood behind the couch with his arms crossed, silent in a way that made the room feel guarded. On screen, Margaret Walker walked through my hallway like she owned it. She wore pearls and a beige coat, her silver hair pinned perfectly. She had always been elegant. When she was cruel, it made people doubt the cruelty. One mover carried a box labeled newborn clothes. Another lifted the bassinet Ethan's parents had bought after I sent them the registry link 3 times. Margaret said something, then laughed. Noah turned up the volume. Her voice filled the living room. "She'll come crawling back once she realizes babies are expensive. Put those in the storage unit. Ethan doesn't need to reward this tantrum." Daniel went very still. My face burned. There it was. The family story in its rawest form. My pain was a tantrum. My daughter was leverage. Their gifts were bait. I pressed record on my phone too. Marcus looked at me. "Want me to call it in?" "No," I said. My voice surprised everyone, including me. I dialed the police myself. When the dispatcher answered, I gave my name, address, and the facts. "My mother-in-law is inside my home without my permission. I am watching her on security camera remove property from my newborn's nursery. I am postpartum and not at the location. I need an officer to respond." Not a sob, not a scream. Facts. Facts had weight. Facts moved systems. While we waited, Ethan called again. This time I answered with Daniel beside me. "Tell Your mother to leave my house, I said. He paused. What? She's on camera removing things from Lily's nursery. His irritation came fast, practiced. My mother is helping. Helping whom? Olivia, don't be dramatic. You left. The baby furniture belongs to my family. The nursery is in my house, our house. My mother's house, I said. Silence. It was the first time I had said it aloud in years. The house was mine. My mother had left it to me before I married Ethan. He had moved in after the wedding. Later he started calling it ours, then his mother called it the Walker home. Somewhere along the way, I had stopped correcting them because correcting them caused tension, and I had been trained to fear tension more than erasure, but the deed had never changed. Ethan knew that. He simply counted on me not using it. He lowered his voice. Don't start with legal technicalities. The deed is not a technicality. You're making this ugly. I watched Margaret hand a framed ultrasound photo to a mover. No, I said, I'm documenting what was already ugly. Ethan breathed hard. You want to play this way? Fine, I'll file for full custody. I'll tell the court you're unstable. I'll tell them you took my daughter and hid behind your brothers. Daniel reached for the phone, but I lifted one hand. Let him speak. Let him build the record himself. I have medical records, I said. I have discharge documents. I have the call where Vanessa suggested I shouldn't be alone with the baby. I have you calling Lila my child before asking whether she was healthy, and now I have your mother taking her things out of my house on video. Another silence. When Ethan spoke again, his voice had changed. Liv. I hated that nickname in his mouth. No, listen to me, this has gotten out of hand. It got out of hand when you walked past your newborn with flowers for another woman. Vanessa needed me. So did we. He said nothing. On the television, red and blue lights flashed across my front windows. Margaret turned toward the door, startled. Police are there, I said. Ethan swore. I ended the call. The responding officers spoke to Margaret on my porch while Daniel recorded the feed. She tried everything. She smiled, she gestured, she pressed a hand to her chest. She said she was the grandmother. Then one officer asked for proof she had permission to remove property. Margaret called Ethan. Ethan called me. I did not answer. The movers carried the boxes back upstairs, every single one. By evening, Rachel had added the incident to the custody file. Unauthorized entry, attempted removal of infant property, recorded statement about using baby expenses to force me back. Judges don't like children used as leverage, Rachel said over video. I sat with Lily asleep against my chest. Will this be enough? It's not one thing. Rachel said, it's the pattern. Husband absent during labor, husband with another woman at discharge, husband using marital funds for that woman, husband's family removing infant property, threats about custody. We build the pattern until he can't talk over it. Pattern, that word hurt because it was true. A single betrayal could be explained away by panic, confusion, bad timing. A pattern had intent. Later that night, after my brothers left the room to give me privacy, I opened the folder marked Lily and added subfolders: medical, financial, communications, property, witnesses. Then I opened the banking records Daniel helped me recover. Ethan had not only bought flowers, he had paid Vanessa's private hospital deposit, he had paid 2 months of her rent, he had paid a boutique invoice the week I went into labor, he had paid for a weekend at the Langford 6 weeks earlier. On the same date he told me he was visiting a construction site in Portland. The numbers lined up in clean columns. Money did not cry, money did not forget, money did not get hormonal. Money told the truth without trembling. At 1:09 a.m. I received a text from Margaret. You are destroying this family over one mistake. I looked at Lily. One mistake, 14 hours of labor, one missing husband, one bouquet, one mistress, one mother-in-law in my house, one threat to take my baby. One mistake, repeated until it became a life I was expected to survive quietly. I blocked Margaret, then I blocked Ethan's father. I did not block Ethan, not yet. I still needed him to keep talking. The hospital smelled different when I returned without a patient wristband. It had only been 5 days since Lily was born, but walking through the sliding doors felt like stepping into the scene of an accident after the wreckage had been cleared. The floors shone, the front desk volunteers smiled. Somewhere a baby cried with the thin, angry force of new lungs. My body remembered before my mind did. My back tightened. My hands went damp around the folder Rachel had prepared. Daniel walked beside me, carrying Lily's diaper bag. Though Lily was home with Marcus and Noah, I had pumped milk before leaving and cried in the bathroom because leaving her for 2 hours felt like tearing skin, but I needed to be here, not for Ethan. For the record, at Medical Records, I signed forms requesting complete copies of my admission, labor, delivery, postpartum notes, discharge instructions, and visitor logs to the extent legally available to me. The clerk was kind, efficient, and deeply uninterested in drama. That comforted me. Systems did not need to care to be useful. Then we went to the maternity floor. Elena was at the nurse's station. When she saw me, her face softened. "How's the baby?" "Healthy," I said. "Tiny," loud at 3 in the morning. Elena smiled. "Good." Daniel introduced himself. He did not pressure her. He simply explained that I was involved in a custody and divorce matter and asked whether she would be willing to document what she personally witnessed. Elena looked at me. "I don't want to drag you into anything," I said quickly. She shook her head. "Honey, you didn't drag anyone. He walked down that hall himself." The words hit so hard I had to grip the counter. Daniel handed her Rachel's card. Elena took it. "I can't release hospital information without proper channels, but I can speak to what I saw if subpoenaed or contacted appropriately." "What did you see?" Daniel asked gently. Elena's eyes moved toward the hallway. "Mrs. Walker was discharged with her newborn. She was physically weak but oriented and calm. Mr. Walker was present on the floor, but not to assist her. He was carrying flowers to another patient's room. I saw them speak. Mrs. Walker did not shout. She completed discharge appropriately and left with a safe adult driver." Every word was a small light switched on in a dark room. Calm, appropriately safe, the exact opposite of Ethan's story. "Thank you," I said. Elena hesitated, then she added, "I also heard him tell you not to do this today." Daniel wrote that down. I remembered Ethan's face, his embarrassment, his warning, "Keep your voice down. Don't do this today," as if my pain had chosen an inconvenient appointment slot. From there, we went to hospital security. That part was slower. Legal forms, requests, waiting. A supervisor named Mr. Alvarez met us in a small office with 3 monitors and a wall of policy binders. "We can't simply hand over footage without legal process," he said. Daniel nodded. "Understood. We are submitting a preservation request. The relevant window is between 1:45 and 2:20 p.m. on the maternity floor, east hallway, outside rooms 412 through 420 and the elevator bank." Mr. Alvarez took the paperwork. "Footage is usually overwritten after 30 days, he said. "This will preserve it if approved." "Thank you," I said. He glanced at me, perhaps expecting anger that he would not show it immediately. I had learned something in 5 days. When people expected hysteria and received patience, they became more careful. Mr. Alvarez softened. "I'll flag it today." Outside security, Daniel exhaled. "You did well." "I hate that sentence." He looked at me. "I hate that women are told they did well when they don't fall apart in public." Daniel's face shifted, grief and anger crossing it together. "You're right," he said. That almost made me cry again, not because he apologized for something he had not done, because he did not argue. In the parking garage, my phone buzzed. Vanessa. I had never saved her number, but I knew it. Ethan once claimed it was a client contact. I had believed him because disbelief would have required action I was not ready to take. Her text contained a photo, white roses in a vase. Below it, "You should really rest. Stress isn't good for milk supply." For a moment, the garage tilted, then another message appeared. "Ethan told me you're spiraling. I hope you get help before the baby suffers." Daniel saw my face. "What?" I handed him the phone. He read the messages and his expression went flat. "Screenshot," he said. "I know." My hands moved automatically. Screenshot, save, upload. Vanessa sent a third message. "He was with me because I needed him." Maybe ask yourself why your own husband felt more useful in my hospital room than yours. That one hurt. Not because it was clever, because cruelty does not need to be clever when it knows where to press. I typed nothing. Daniel said, "Don't respond." "I won't." But I did something better. I sent the screenshots to Rachel. Her reply came 3 minutes later. "Good. This helps establish harassment and interference. Do not engage, do not engage." That became my rule. When Ethan called later, I did not answer. When he texted, "You need to tell your brothers to back off," I saved it. When he wrote, "Vanessa is fragile and you attacking her could push her over the edge," I saved it. When he wrote, "I can make this custody situation very painful if you force me," I saved that twice. That evening Rachel called. I reviewed the bank records Daniel sent. I sat upright. Lily slept in the crook of my arm. And, Olivia, he's been using marital funds for Vanessa for at least 18 months. The room went silent around me. 18 months. I thought of every cancelled dinner, every late meeting, every time Ethan said we needed to be careful with money because babies were expensive, every time I transferred money from my personal account to cover household bills while he complained about cash flow. How much? I asked. We're still totaling. It is not small. My laugh came out empty. He told me the stroller I wanted was too expensive. Rachel was quiet for a beat. Men like Ethan often don't just betray emotionally, they reallocate the marriage, time, money, sympathy, public image. They move all of it toward the affair while expecting the wife to keep the foundation standing. I looked at my daughter. The foundation was done standing for him. What happens next? I asked. We file for temporary custody. Exclusive use of your separate property residence, preservation of assets and reimbursement claims. We also notify his counsel if he gets one, that we have evidence of dissipation of marital funds. Dissipation, using marital assets for a purpose unrelated to the marriage. Affairs often count. The word was ugly. Good, it deserved an ugly word. After the call, I fed Lily and watched her tiny jaw move with fierce concentration. She knew nothing of court filings, mistresses, mothers-in-law, hotel bills, or men who mistook patience for permission. I whispered, "You won't grow up watching me disappear." My phone lit again, this time a message from Ethan. "I know you're collecting things, be careful, Liv, a judge won't like a bitter woman." I stared at it, then I saved it under communications. Bitter woman, he had no idea. Bitterness sits and rots. I was moving. Vanessa changed tactics when I refused to answer. At first, she wanted to wound me privately, text messages, flower photos, little poisoned lines about milk supply, stress, and what my husband needed. When that failed, she turned herself into a victim. 3 days after the hospital records request, she posted a black and white photo of her hand with an A4 taped to it. The caption read, "Healing quietly while being blamed for a marriage I did not break." She did not tag Ethan. She did not need to. People knew enough to guess and not enough to be useful. Within an hour, 2 of Ethan's friends' wives had viewed my profile. One sent a message, "Thinking of you, hope everything is okay." Not "Are you safe?" Not "Did he hurt you?" Just "Hope everything is okay." The universal sentence people use when they smell smoke but do not want to call it fire. I did not respond. Instead, I opened the financial spreadsheet Rachel's assistant had built. Vanessa's rent, Vanessa's therapy coparis, Vanessa's boutique purchases, Vanessa's ride shares, Vanessa's hotel rooms, Vanessa's hospital deposit. Ethan had become a husband in public and a provider elsewhere. The worst part was not the money, it was the pattern of subtraction. Every dollar he sent her had been paired with something he denied me. The childbirth class he missed because of a client dinner matched a Langford charge. The week he told me to delay buying the crib matched a wire transfer to Vanessa's landlord. The night I sat alone in the nursery assembling a rocking chair matched a dinner for 2 at a restaurant with a rooftop bar. I remembered sending him a photo of the finished chair. He had replied, "Looks good," 2 words. At the time I cried because pregnancy made me tender. Now I looked at the records and understood. He had not been too busy to come home. He had been busy being generous to someone else with a life I helped fund. On Friday morning, Rachel called another strategy meeting at Daniel's dining table. Lily slept in a bassinet nearby. Noah had installed a camera over the front door. Marcus had brought coffee. Daniel had 3 legal pads open. Rachel appeared on the laptop screen, crisp and focused. "We need to anticipate Ethan's argument," she said. "He'll say Olivia is withholding the baby out of jealousy. He'll say the affair, if he admits it, has nothing to do with parenting." Marcus snorted. He walked past the kid in a hospital hallway. "Yes," Rachel said, "and that matters. But family court focuses on the child's best interest. We show judgment, stability, and conduct, not just adultery." I nodded. "So we show he prioritizes Vanessa's crises over Lily's needs." "Exactly," Daniel added, "and that he used threats, and that his mother attempted to remove infant supplies to pressure Olivia," Rachel said. Noah leaned forward. "What about security footage from Olivia's house?" "Preserved and useful," Rachel said, "especially the audio." I looked down at my hands. My wedding ring was still there. I had not noticed until that moment. It sat on my finger like a habit. Slowly, I twisted it off. The skin beneath was pale. Everyone went quiet, but no one commented. I placed the ring on the table beside the printed bank records. Not thrown, not dramatic, filed. Rachel's eyes softened through the screen. "Olivia, there's one more thing. What? Ethan may try to access the baby through the birth certificate process. You left the father section pending. That gives us some room, but it will also provoke him. I know. Are you prepared for DNA and paternity filings? Yes. Daniel looked at me. You don't have to fight paternity to protect custody. We can acknowledge he's the father and still argue for restrictions. I don't want to erase him, I said. I want to limit the damage he can do. That was the cleanest truth I had spoken. I did not need Lily to grow up with a fantasy Ethan was her father. But fatherhood was not a crown he could wear only when photographed. Rachel nodded. Good, courts appreciate reasonableness. Reasonable. How strange that after all his betrayals I still had to be the reasonable one. After the meeting I took Lily upstairs for a nap. My body still ached, milk leaked through my shirt, my stitches pulled if I moved too fast. Revenge, I learned, did not look like red lipstick and high heels. Sometimes it looked like mesh underwear, cold coffee, legal forms, and a baby sleeping through the collapse of a family. When I came back downstairs, Vanessa had sent another message. This one was a voice note. I almost deleted it. Then I remembered Rachel's rule, save first, feel later. I played it with Daniel in the room. Vanessa's voice came through soft and trembling, but not enough to hide the edge. Olivia, I know you hate me. But Ethan is falling apart. You don't see what you're doing to him. He loves Lily. But you can't use a child as a weapon just because your marriage didn't turn out how you wanted. Honestly, if you keep acting like this, people are going to wonder if you're safe to be around her. Daniel's face became very still. The voice note continued. I didn't steal anything from you. Ethan came to me because he felt invisible at home. Maybe instead of blaming me, you should ask why he needed someone who actually listened. It ended. For 1 second, I was back in every argument Ethan and I had ever had. You never understand my pressure. You make everything about you. Vanessa listens without judging. I had judged myself in his voice for years. Then Lily cried upstairs. The sound cut through the old spell. I picked up my phone and forwarded the voice note to Rachel. Then I typed a single note in my evidence folder. Vanessa is now directly threatening custody narrative. Daniel read it over my shoulder. You're getting good at this, he said. I hate that too. I know. That afternoon a courier delivered a letter from Ethan's new attorney. Petition for emergency return of minor child, allegations. Mother removed child from marital home without consent. Refused father access, unstable postpartum behavior, interference from maternal relatives. I read it once, then again my hands did not shake until I reached the line claiming Ethan had been present and supportive during the child's birth and postpartum discharge. Present, supportive. I laughed. It startled Daniel. Liv, he just lied in a legal filing. Daniel took the papers. His eyes moved fast, then his mouth curved without humor. Yes, he said, he did. Rachel's response was immediate. Good, now we attach the timeline. By evening our response was drafted. Medical records confirming I labored without Ethan present. Discharge paperwork signed by me. Elena's witness statement pending. Photo of Ethan in hallway with flowers addressed to Vanessa. Vanessa's public post with flowers. Call recording where Ethan did not ask about Lily's health and accused me of taking my child. Texts threatening custody. Video of Margaret removing nursery items. Bank records showing payments to Vanessa. It was not one dramatic revelation, it was a net. Ethan had built it himself with every choice he thought I would never record. At midnight while feeding Lily in the dark I checked my email. A message from Ethan. Subject: Stop Liv, this has gone too far. You're angry, I get it, but letting your brothers and some shark lawyer turn our private life into a war is not you. Come home, bring Lily, we'll set boundaries with Vanessa. I'll explain everything. Don't make choices you can't undo. Ethan, I read it twice. Then I replied, Ethan, I already came home from the hospital. You were not there. Olivia, I sent it. Then I blocked his email from my main inbox and routed future messages to a folder named Evidence. Margaret Walker requested a family meeting. She did not ask me directly. She called Daniel's office as if I had become an unruly employee whose supervisor might arrange my correction. Daniel put her on speaker with my permission. Daniel, she said, warm and polished, this legal hostility is unnecessary. Families should not communicate through attorneys. Daniel looked at me. I nodded once. He said, Olivia is willing to attend a structured conversation if counsel is present and if the baby is not used as a bargaining point. A pause. That's a very cold way to speak about family, given the recent attempt to remove nursery property. Structure seems appropriate. Margaret inhaled sharply. I was trying to help my son. That's documented. I almost smiled. We agreed to meet at Rachel's office. Not their house, not mine. Not any place where Margaret could arrange chairs like a throne room. Ethan came with his parents. I came with Rachel and Daniel. Lily stayed home with Noah. That alone enraged Ethan. The moment he entered the conference room, his eyes went to my empty arms. Where is she? Safe, I said. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting today. He looked tired, good suit, bad sleep. His face had the grey undertone of a man discovering consequences did not care about charm. For one dangerous second, I saw the man I had loved beneath the arrogance. Then he opened his mouth. You look better, he said. So maybe we can all calm down now. Whatever softness had stirred in me died instantly. Rachel gestured for everyone to sit. Margaret chose the chair directly across from me, Ethan's father. Charles sat beside her, silent as always unless money was mentioned. Ethan remained standing. This is ridiculous, he said. I should not need a meeting to see my daughter. Rachel folded her hands. You filed an emergency petition containing false statements. We responded, the hearing is scheduled. Today is an opportunity to discuss temporary arrangements without further escalation. False statements, Margaret said. My son was at the hospital. I looked at her. He was in the building. Color rose in her cheeks. Charles cleared his throat. Olivia, nobody is denying emotions ran high, but you leaving with the baby created panic. I stared at him. Panic for whom? For everyone. Did Ethan panic when I was in labor? Ethan snapped. I told you I couldn't get there. Rachel's eyes flicked up. Because of a meeting. Ethan hesitated. Daniel opened a folder. The sound of paper sliding against paper felt almost surgical. We have reason to believe Ethan was with Ms. Reed during at least part of Olivia's labor window, Daniel said. Phone location data may clarify that if subpoenaed. Ethan glared at him. You don't have my phone data. Not yet. Margaret leaned forward. This obsession with Vanessa is unhealthy. I almost admired her nerve. Your son carried flowers to Vanessa while I held his newborn alone. I said, that is not my obsession, that is his itinerary. Rachel's mouth twitched. Ethan looked away. Margaret recovered quickly. Vanessa has suffered tremendously. Ethan has always had a compassionate heart. And Lily? I asked. No one answered. Does his compassionate heart extend to the child he didn't ask to hold? Ethan's face tightened. That's unfair. No, I said. It's specific. Silence settled. Then Margaret reached for the weapon she trusted most. Olivia, I understand motherhood is overwhelming truly, but taking a newborn from her father's family because your feelings were hurt is not stable behavior. There it was again, stable, the word they wanted to hang around my neck. Like a stone, I opened my folder. Rachel had advised me not to flood the meeting with evidence. Use enough to shift the room, she said, not enough to show our whole strategy. So I used enough. I placed 3 pages on the table, a discharge summary, a still image from my hallway camera showing Margaret in my nursery with movers, a bank statement with 3 highlighted payments to Vanessa. Margaret looked at the camera image first, her lips parted. That was taken without my consent, in my house, I said. Charles picked up the bank statement. His eyes moved over the numbers. He looked at Ethan. What is this? Ethan reached for it. Nothing. Charles did not let go. Ethan. For the first time I saw fear cross Ethan's face in front of his father. Vanessa needed help, he said. Charles's voice hardened. With rent. Margaret whispered, not now. But now had arrived whether she invited it or not. Rachel spoke calmly. The issue is not only the affair, the issue is judgment, financial conduct, threats. Regarding custody and family interference, Ethan sat down slowly. He looked at me, and for a moment his anger slipped into something like disbelief. You really want to destroy me? I looked at the man who had slept in my bed while funding another woman's life, the man who missed our daughter's first breath, the man who still thought accountability was destruction. No, I said, I stopped protecting you from what you did. The room went quiet. Margaret's eyes shone with fury. If you go through with this, Olivia, don't expect this family to support you. I almost laughed. Support? The Walker version of support was a leash tied with silk. I gathered my papers. Mrs. Walker, your family support arrived at the hospital with flowers for Vanessa. Ethan flinched. I stood carefully. My body still punished me for sudden movement. That made the moment better. Somehow, I was not powerful because I was untouched. I was powerful because I was injured and leaving anyway. Ethan stood too. Liv, sit down. No, we're not done. I am. His voice dropped. You walk out that door and I swear I'll make custody hell. Rachel looked at him sharply. Daniel wrote it down. I smiled for the first time, not because it was funny, because he still did not understand. Thank you, I said. Ethan blinked. For what? For saying that in front of witnesses. The first thing I stopped paying for was the country club. It sounds small, almost petty. It was not. The Walker men built business over golf, whiskey, and wives who smiled on patios while pretending not to notice the women there. Husbands noticed too much. Ethan's membership had been charged for 2 years to an account connected to my mother's trust distributions. He called it temporary. Temporary had lasted 26 months. I emailed the club and revoked authorization. Then I cancelled the automatic payment for the corporate gala table Ethan had asked me to sponsor through my old foundation contacts. Then I contacted the accountant who handled property taxes on my mother's house and removed Ethan from all communications. Then I changed the locks. Each action was clean, quiet, legal. Each one cut a thread he had mistaken for air. By Monday afternoon Ethan noticed. His first text came at 2:04 p.m. Did you cancel the club payment at 2:11? Olivia, answer me at 2:19. Do you understand how embarrassing this is? There it was again, embarrassment, his true emergency. I fed Lily, burped her, changed her, and answered no one at 3:03. He called Daniel at 3:14. He called Rachel at 3:22. He texted me again. You are trying to ruin my reputation. I saved it. At 4:30 Vanessa posted a quote about surviving narcissistic abuse. I saved that too, though mostly out of disbelief. By 6, Ethan arrived at Daniel's house. Noah saw him on the camera first. He's at the gate, he said. Daniel was at his office. Marcus was picking up prescriptions. For the first time in days I was alone in the house with Noah and Lily. Noah looked at me. You want me to handle it? I adjusted Lily against my shoulder. No, open the speaker, don't open the gate. The camera feed showed Ethan standing in the cold, coat open, hair windblown. He pressed the call button again. Noah accepted the intercom. Ethan's voice filled the kitchen. I need to speak to my wife. I stood just out of camera view. Noah said. She's listening. Olivia, this is insane. You cut off payments without warning. I leaned toward the speaker. My separate funds are not your warning system. A pause. You agreed to help me build this life. No, I agreed to build a marriage. Don't play word games. I stopped. He looked directly at the camera now. You think because your brothers are around, you can humiliate me. Lily is sleeping, I said. Lower your voice. That angered him more than shouting would have. My daughter is in there and I am stuck outside like a criminal. Then stop behaving like someone I need cameras for. His face changed. Noah's eyes flicked to me, impressed despite himself. Ethan stepped closer to the gate. I want to see her. File through counsel. I am her father. Then act like one in court. This is parental alienation. No, I said. This is a boundary after documented threats. He laughed harshly. You learned that from Rachel. I learned it in the hospital hallway. The words hit him. I saw it. For a moment, his anger broke into something else, shame maybe, or memory. Liv, he said, quieter. I made a mistake. I looked at the screen. The old me would have stepped toward that softness. She would have heard the nickname and mistaken it for love. She would have filled in the apology he had not actually made. The new me waited. Ethan swallowed. I should have gone to your room first. First, as if I wanted a better place in line. No, I said. You should have been at the birth. His jaw tightened. I can't change that. No, you can't. Then what do you want from me? I looked down at Lily, asleep in a sling against my chest. Nothing. That was the truth that finally frightened him. His face lost color. Don't say that. I want nothing from you except legal compliance. And safe co-parenting if the court allows it. Safe co-parenting. He repeated the phrase like it tasted foreign. I'm not dangerous. You threatened to make custody hell. I was angry. Your mother removed nursery items. She overstepped. You used money from our marriage for Vanessa. She needed help. You walked past your daughter. His mouth opened. No answer came. The silence stretched through the speaker. Then he said the one thing that killed the last fragile thread. Vanessa never made me feel like a failure. I stared at him. There it was, the confession beneath every excuse. Not love, not crisis, not compassion. Vanessa made him feel admired. I had made him feel accountable. Then go where you feel successful, I said. I ended the intercom. Noah looked at me. You okay? No. Want tea? Yes, he made tea badly. I drank it anyway. That night, Rachel emailed me a draft of the temporary custody statement. She had written the facts in legal language so restrained it almost felt brutal. Petitioner gave birth without respondent present. Respondent was observed carrying flowers to another woman during petitioner's discharge period. Respondent did not assist petitioner or newborn minor child with discharge. Respondent used marital funds for the benefit of third party. Respondent threatened custody retaliation. Respondent's mother entered petitioner's separate property residence without permission and attempted to remove infant belongings. I read it 3 times. It was my life with the adjectives removed. Somehow that made it worse and better. At the bottom, Rachel had left a note. Olivia, judges do not expect perfect mothers, they expect protective ones. You are doing the right thing. I looked at Lily. Protective, I whispered. She stretched one tiny fist toward my voice. For years, I had protected Ethan's image. Now I protected my daughter from it. Ethan came for Lily on a rainy Thursday morning. The sky had turned the color of dirty wool. Lily had been awake since 4, furious at the world for reasons she could not explain and I could not fix. I had spit up on my shoulder, unwashed hair, and a headache that pulsed behind my eyes. That was when the doorbell rang. Noah checked the camera. Ethan, he said. And his lawyer. My stomach tightened. Rachel was already on her way for a scheduled prep meeting. Daniel was 10 minutes behind her. Marcus was at the pharmacy. For 1 second I felt the old fear rise. Then I looked at Lily. Fear could ride along, it could not drive. I handed her to Noah. Take her upstairs. You sure? No. Do it anyway. By the time I reached the entry hall, Ethan was pounding on the door. Olivia, open it. I opened the inner door but left the security door locked. Ethan stood on the porch in a dark raincoat. Beside him was a man with a leather briefcase and the exhausted expression of an attorney who had been told only half the truth. Ethan's eyes swept over me. You look terrible. It was such a perfectly Ethan thing to say that I almost smiled. Good morning to you too. His lawyer stepped forward. Mrs. Walker, I'm Thomas Greer. We are here to request immediate access to the minor child. Through counsel, I said. Ethan snapped. She's my daughter, not a contract dispute. No, I said, she's a newborn and you brought a lawyer to a locked door. Greer cleared his throat. Mr. Walker is concerned that he has been denied all contact. You have Rachel Kim's number. We emailed last night. Then wait for her response. Ethan stepped closer to the security door. Rain dotted his hair. Let me see Lily. No, his face hardened. You don't get to keep saying that. I do until a court says otherwise. You are proving everything I said about you. There it was, the bait. I held still. Greer looked between us, uncertain now. Ethan, he said quietly, let me handle this. But Ethan was too angry to be handled. Do you know what she did? He demanded, turning toward his own lawyer. She left the hospital while I was handling an emergency. She hid my child. Her brothers threatened me at a hotel. She's unstable. I opened the folder I had placed on the entry table before unlocking the inner door. Mr. Greer, I said, has your client provided you with the hospital timeline? Ethan's eyes flashed. Don't. Greer looked at me. I have his account. Then you should ask for documents before repeating it. I slid one page through the mail slot in the security door. Greer bent and picked it up. It was not everything, just enough. My admission time, delivery time, discharge time, Ethan's visitor log entry on the maternity floor, the timestamp of the hallway photo. Greer's eyes moved over the page. Then I slid the photo through. Ethan carrying flowers, Vanessa's name visible, my daughter's blanket visible in the lower corner. Rain tapped the porch roof. Greer looked at Ethan. Ethan stared at the photo like it had betrayed him. You took pictures of me, he said. You walked past me. That doesn't show context. I slid one more page through, transcript excerpt from the recorded call. Where the hell are you? You don't take my child and disappear. Maybe she shouldn't be alone with the baby if she's acting like this. Greer read it, his mouth flattened. Ethan pointed at me. This is exactly what I mean. She's been planning this. No, I said, I've been surviving you in writing. His face twisted for 1 second. I thought he might hit the security door. Instead he leaned close to the mesh. You think these papers make you a good mother? No, Lily does. That landed. His face shifted. Pain, anger, disbelief. For a moment he looked like a man watching a house burn and remembering too late that he had lit the match. Then Lily cried upstairs. Ethan heard it. His whole body changed. That's her. I did not move. Olivia, let me see her. The demand had cracked into something dangerously close to pleading. But pleading was not safety. No, please. I had waited years for that word. It arrived too late and attached to the wrong request. No, his fist hit the security door, not hard enough to break, hard enough to record. Noah appeared behind me instantly. Greer grabbed Ethan's arm. Stop, Ethan jerked away. Get your hands off me. I stepped back and called 911. My voice was steady. My estranged husband is at my residence, pounding on the door after threats related to custody. My newborn is inside. There is a security door between us. I need assistance documenting and removing him. Ethan stared at me. You called the police on me? Yes. Greer closed his eyes. By the time the officers arrived, Rachel and Daniel were there. 2. Marcus pulled up 30 seconds later and stood near the driveway with the cold focus of a man who knew exactly how bad situations became when angry men felt embarrassed. The officers separated everyone. Ethan tried to explain. Rachel provided the existing filings, the prior threat, and the video clip from the security door. Greer said very little. That was when I knew Ethan had damaged his own case again. One officer asked if I wanted to make a report. I looked at Ethan. His face was pale with rage. But beneath it I saw something else now, not love, not regret, a man furious that the old rules had stopped working. Yes, I said, I want it documented. Ethan laughed bitterly. Unbelievable. I turned to the officer. I don't need him arrested. I need a record that he came here after being told to go through counsel, demanded access to a newborn, hit the security door, and refused to leave until police arrived. The officer wrote it down. Facts, always facts. After they escorted Ethan off the property, Rachel turned to me. This will matter tomorrow. Tomorrow was the temporary custody hearing. I nodded. My legs suddenly felt weak. Noah brought Lily downstairs. She had stopped crying and was hiccuping against his shoulder. I took her and pressed my face to her head. I'm sorry, I whispered. Rachel touched my arm. Don't apologize to her for protecting her. That sentence followed me into the night. I slept maybe 2 hours. At dawn, I put on a black dress loose enough not to hurt my body and flat shoes. Because I still moved like pain lived in my hips. Daniel drove me to court. Rachel met us outside with a rolling case full of exhibits. Ethan stood near the entrance with Greer. He looked at me. For once, he did not speak. Good. The time for his story was ending. Family court was smaller than I expected. No grand jury box, no dramatic wooden stage, just a room with tired walls, fluorescent lights, and people carrying the worst moments of their lives in labeled folders. I sat beside Rachel with my hands folded. Lily was not there. Rachel had advised against bringing a newborn into the hearing unless necessary. Let the evidence speak, she said. Do not let them turn the baby into theater. Ethan sat across the room with Greer. He wore a grey suit and the expression of a man prepared to be reasonable in public. I recognized it. He had worn it at charity dinners, mortgage meetings, and couples counseling. It was the face that said, surely everyone here can see I am the calm one. Then the judge entered. Temporary hearings move quickly. Rachel had warned me. We won't try the whole divorce today. We establish immediate safety, temporary custody, financial preservation, and conduct boundaries. Ethan's petition went first. Greer stood. He was careful, more careful than the letter he had filed before seeing my documents. Your Honor, my client is seeking immediate structured access to his newborn daughter. He acknowledges marital conflict, but he is concerned that the child's mother removed the infant from the hospital and has since denied direct contact. The judge looked at Rachel. Rachel stood. Your Honor, my client did not remove the child from safety. She was discharged from the hospital with medical clearance and transported by her adult brother because her husband, the respondent, was not available to assist. The evidence will show he was present on the maternity floor but attending to another woman. A small sound moved through the room, not loud, just a shift. The judge's eyes sharpened. Proceed. Rachel began with the timeline. Admission, labor, delivery, Ethan absent, my consent forms signed without him, postpartum notes, discharge, Ethan's presence on the floor. Then Rachel submitted the hallway photo. The judge looked at it for a long moment. Ethan stared at the table. Rachel said, this image was taken by my client after the respondent exited the elevator with flowers addressed to Vanessa Reed. My client was holding the newborn minor child at the time. Respondent did not assist with discharge. Greer stood. Your Honor, the photograph lacks full context. Ms. Reed was experiencing a mental health crisis. The judge looked at him. Was Ms. Reed the child's mother? Greer paused. No, Your Honor. Was the petitioner medically postpartum at the time? Yes. Was the child being discharged? Yes. The judge looked back at the photo. Something in my chest loosened, not healed, loosened. Rachel moved next to the call transcript. Where the hell are you? You don't take my child and disappear. Maybe she shouldn't be alone with the baby if she's acting like this. Greer objected to Vanessa's statement being included without her present. Rachel replied, "We are not offering it for the truth of Ms. Reed's claim. We are offering it to show the respondent's environment and the immediate framing of petitioner as unstable within hours of discharge." The judge allowed it for limited purposes. Then came Margaret's video. On the small courtroom screen, my front hall appeared. Margaret entered with movers. She pointed upstairs. The audio played. "She'll come crawling back once she realizes babies are expensive. Put those in the storage unit." The room went completely still. Ethan closed his eyes. The judge watched without expression, which somehow felt worse. Rachel said, "This occurred after petitioner left the hospital. Respondent's mother entered petitioner's separate property residence without permission and attempted to remove infant items. Police responded. The items were returned." Greer stood slowly. "Your Honor, my client was not present." Rachel nodded, but he was notified during the incident and did not instruct his mother to stop. Additionally, his prior and subsequent communications show a pattern of using access and resources to pressure petitioner. She submitted the texts, "I'll file for full custody. A judge won't like a bitter woman. I can make this custody situation very painful if you force me. Don't make choices you can't undo." Ethan's face reddened. The judge read them. Then came the financial records. Rachel did not dwell on the affair for moral outrage. She framed it as judgment and marital asset dissipation, rent payments, medical deposit, hotel charges, luxury purchases, all for Vanessa Reed, all during my pregnancy, all while Ethan claimed household costs were too high. Greer tried to redirect. "My client has been financially generous to a friend in crisis. That should not determine whether he can hold his daughter." The judge looked at Ethan. "Mr. Walker, were these payments disclosed to your wife?" Ethan swallowed. "Not all of them." "Did you use marital accounts?" "Some." "Did you miss the birth of your child?" His jaw tightened. "I was dealing with an emergency." "Was that emergency Ms. Reed?" He did not answer quickly enough. The judge wrote something down. I felt Rachel's foot lightly touch mine under the table, a silent reminder to breathe. Greer requested immediate unsupervised visitation. Rachel requested temporary primary physical custody for me, supervised visitation for Ethan pending further review, no removal of the child from my care without written agreement or court order, no disparagement, no third-party contact from Vanessa, and preservation of financial records. The judge leaned back for 30 seconds. No one moved. Then she spoke. "At this stage, I am not making moral findings about the marriage. I am looking at the best interests of a newborn child. The evidence presented raises concerns about respondent's judgment during and immediately after the child's birth, his use of threatening language regarding custody and interference from respondent's family." Ethan's head lifted sharply. The judge continued, "Temporary primary physical custody will remain with petitioner. Respondent will have supervised visitation twice weekly at an approved center pending further order. Respondent is not to come to petitioner's residence. Communications regarding the child will occur through a parenting application. Third parties are not to contact petitioner regarding custody or reconciliation, financial preservation. Order is granted." The room blurred. I did not cry, not there, but my hands shook under the table. Ethan turned to me. "Olivia." Rachel stood slightly, blocking the line between us. The judge looked at him. "Mr. Walker, do not address petitioner directly." His mouth closed for once. A woman with authority had told him no, and the room held. After the hearing, I walked out slowly. My body still hurt, my heart hurt worse, but I could breathe. In the hallway, Ethan broke away from Greer. "Liv, wait." Rachel turned. "All communication through counsel or the parenting app." He ignored her, eyes fixed on me. "You can't seriously think supervised visits are necessary?" I looked at him. "In the hospital you thought flowers were necessary." His face twisted. "How many times are you going to punish me for that? For the rest of my life?" I asked. "Never, that's why I'm leaving you." He flinched. "You don't mean that." I almost felt sorry for him then, not enough to stop. "I filed this morning," I said. "The divorce petition is next." I walked away before he could answer. Behind me, the courthouse doors opened and closed. For the first time since Lily was born, the air outside tasted like something other than survival. Vanessa did not want to testify. People like Vanessa enjoyed being central until the center became a witness chair. Rachel subpoenaed records first, not dramatic, not personal, records from the hospital billing department, limited communications relevant to payments, and documentation connected to Ethan's financial support. Vanessa's attorney responded with outrage. Rachel responded with narrower requests and sharper law. Daniel said this was normal. Everyone objects until they realize the paper trail has already answered. The paper trail answered loudly. Ethan had paid Vanessa's hospital deposit the morning Lily was born, not after the birth, not after my discharge, during my labor. The transaction time was 9:42 a.m. At 9:37 I had texted him from the delivery room, "They say things are moving faster. Please come," his reply at 9:51, trying. I stared at the 2 timestamps until the room disappeared. He had not been trying to reach me, he had been paying for her. That was the moment grief changed shape again. Until then, some part of me had imagined chaos, a bad choice, a man pulled between panic and responsibility. But timestamps are merciless. He read my message, he paid her bill. He came to the maternity floor hours later with flowers. Rachel added the transaction to the file. I added it to a private place inside myself where apologies would never be allowed to enter. Vanessa's deposition happened. 2 weeks later, I was not required to attend, but I chose to sit in a separate conference room with a live transcript feed. Rachel did not want me in the same room. "She's performed for you enough," she said, so I watched her words appear on a screen. Vanessa Reed entered with soft curls, pale makeup, and a cardigan that made her look fragile enough for sympathy. Through the glass wall, I saw Ethan sitting 2 chairs away from her. He looked worse. "Good," Vanessa began carefully. She and Ethan were close friends. She had been struggling. She never intended to interfere in a marriage. She did not know Olivia was in labor when Ethan helped her. Rachel let her talk. Then she opened the messages. Vanessa to Ethan, 8:58 a.m. "If you leave me today, I don't know what I'll do." Ethan to Vanessa, 9:03 a.m. "Olivia is at the hospital. I need to go soon." Vanessa to Ethan, 9:05 a.m. "Of course she makes everything happen when I need you." My vision went white at the edges. Rachel continued. Vanessa to Ethan, 9:21 a.m. "If you choose her today, don't come back to me." Ethan to Vanessa, 9:24 a.m. "I'm not choosing." "Calm down." Vanessa to Ethan, 9:31 a.m. "Then prove it. The billing office is calling again." 9 minutes later, "He paid." Rachel asked, "Ms. Reed, were you aware that Mrs. Walker was in labor when you sent these messages?" Vanessa's attorney objected. Vanessa answered anyway. Ethan said she had doctors with her. Rachel's voice remained calm. "That was not my question." Vanessa looked down. "Yes," the word appeared on the transcript. "Yes, I did not cry. I had already spent enough tears on people who made choices with dry eyes." Rachel moved to the flowers. "Did you ask Mr. Walker to bring white roses?" Vanessa hesitated. A message appeared. Vanessa to Ethan, 1:17 p.m. "Don't come empty-handed after making me feel second all day." Ethan to Vanessa, 1:18 p.m. "What do you want?" Vanessa to Ethan, 1:19 p.m. "White roses, you know that?" Rachel asked. "Did you know Mrs. Walker and the newborn were being discharged that afternoon?" Vanessa said. "Ethan mentioned it. Yet you asked him to bring flowers to your room." "I was upset. Because you felt second." Vanessa's face hardened. There she was, not broken, not helpless, angry that the role she wanted had a name. Rachel then introduced Vanessa's texts to me. "Milk supply spiraling, unsafe." Vanessa tried to explain them as concern. Rachel asked, "What training do you have to evaluate postpartum mental health?" "None." "What basis did you have to suggest Mrs. Walker was unsafe with her newborn?" Vanessa's mouth tightened. Ethan said she was acting irrational. Rachel turned a page. "Because she left the hospital after discharge with her brother." No answer. "Because she objected to her husband bringing you flowers." No answer. "Because she did not respond to your messages." Vanessa looked toward Ethan. For the first time I saw the alliance crack. She had expected him to protect her. He had expected her to remain useful. Neither expectation survived sworn testimony. "Well then," Rachel asked about money, rent, bills, hotels, medical expenses. Vanessa admitted enough to hurt Ethan and denied enough to hurt herself. By the end, Ethan looked at her like she had robbed him. I almost laughed. He had mistaken shared guilt for loyalty. After the deposition, Rachel came into the room where I waited. "You okay?" "No, need a minute." "I need a lifetime, but a minute works." She sat beside me for a while. Neither of us spoke. Then she said, "This strengthens your case significantly." I know, but... The legal victory sat beside something uglier. He read my text, I said. During labor, he read it and paid her bill. Rachel's professional face softened. Yes, there was no comfort in truth, only ground. That evening, Ethan sent a message through the parenting app. I need to talk to you, not through lawyers, please. I stared at the word please. It did not move me now. I replied through the app, all communication about Lily can remain here. He answered quickly. I made terrible mistakes. Vanessa manipulated me. I looked at Lily, who was asleep after her bath, one fist tucked under her chin. Then I typed, Vanessa did not carry flowers past your newborn. You did. He did not respond. The next day, Ethan attended his first supervised visit. I was not in the room. I watched through the center's observation window because Rachel said I could if I wanted, but did not have to. Ethan held Lily like she was made of glass. For the first time, I saw him look at her without performance. She yawned. He cried. I felt nothing simple. There was grief, anger, a strange pity, a deep, immovable certainty. A man can love what he failed. That does not mean he becomes safe. After the visit, he saw me in the hallway. A supervisor stood nearby. Ethan wiped his face. She's beautiful. I know. Olivia. No, I haven't said anything. You were going to ask for something. His face crumpled slightly. I was going to say I'm sorry. I held his gaze. Then say it to the version of me who waited for you in the delivery room. I'm not her anymore. I walked out before he finished crying. The divorce did not end in one explosive scene. Real endings rarely do. They end through signatures, revised drafts, disclosures, parenting schedules, app notifications, reimbursement calculations, and the slow exhaustion of a man discovering that regret is not a legal argument. Ethan fought at first. He challenged the reimbursement claims. He demanded more custody than he could practically exercise. He accused my brothers of controlling me. He accused Rachel of poisoning me. He accused Vanessa of manipulating him. He accused everyone except the man who walked down the hospital hallway with flowers. But evidence has patience. The hospital footage was preserved. When we finally received it, I watched it once, only once. There I was, pale and swollen, holding Lily against my chest. Ethan stepped out of the elevator. He saw us. He stopped for less than 2 seconds. Then he adjusted the roses and walked on. No sound, no dramatic music, just a man making a choice. Rachel used the footage in settlement negotiations. Greer watched it twice, then asked for a private room with Ethan. After that, the tone changed. Temporary orders became longer-term agreements. Ethan accepted supervised visitation, transitioning to structured parenting time after completing counseling and a parenting course. He agreed Vanessa would have no contact with Lily. He agreed to reimburse a portion of marital funds spent on Vanessa. He agreed not to enter my property. He agreed communication would remain through the parenting app. He did not agree because he became noble. He agreed because the alternative was a courtroom and a video he could not explain. Margaret sent one final letter through Charles's email. Olivia, whatever happened between you and Ethan, Lily deserves her father's family. One day you will regret letting bitterness make decisions. I forwarded it to Rachel and did not reply. Charles, more practical than sentimental, later requested a mediated grandparent visitation discussion. Rachel declined until Ethan's schedule stabilized. The Walker family had spent months treating me like an incubator with bad manners. They could learn patience. Vanessa disappeared from social media after her deposition excerpts became part of the financial dispute. Not public, not viral, just known by the people whose opinions she had tried to collect like jewelry. Ethan's company partners found out enough. Men like Ethan fear public scandal, but they fear private loss of confidence more. Investors do not need moral outrage, they only need doubt. He lost a development deal in May. He moved out of the office suite with his name on the glass in June. By July, he had sold the car he once said suited his image. It turned out, was expensive to maintain without my quiet money under it. On the morning we signed the final divorce agreement, I wore a cream blouse and black trousers. Lily was nearly 4 months old. She had discovered her own hands and found them fascinating. Daniel drove me, but I went inside alone. Rachel met me in the conference room. Ethan was already there with Greer. He stood when I entered. I did not. For a moment no one spoke. He looked thinner, older. His wedding ring was gone. Mine had been in a drawer for weeks, sealed in a small envelope with the hospital bracelet I could not yet throw away. Olivia, he said. Rachel glanced at me. I nodded. We can begin. The signing took 40 minutes, initial here, sign here, date here, custody schedule, financial settlement, property acknowledgement, non-disparagement, communication terms, no contact between Vanessa and minor child reimbursement structure. I signed my name again and again until it stopped feeling like an ending and started feeling like a door being built. When it was done, Greer gathered Ethan's copies, Rachel gathered mine. Ethan remained seated. "Can I have 5 minutes?" he asked. Rachel said. "Olivia is not obligated to." "It's fine," I said. Rachel did not like it, but she stepped out with Greer. The glass wall remained uncovered, privacy, not vulnerability. Ethan looked at me across the table. "I don't know how to talk to you anymore. You can talk through the app about Lily." He flinched. "I deserve that." I said nothing. He rubbed his hands together. "I watched the hospital footage again last night. My body went still. I don't know why I kept walking." He said I did, but I let him continue. "I saw you standing there. I saw her in your arms. I saw myself look at both of you and..." His voice broke. "I kept walking." "Yes." He looked up, eyes wet. "How do I live with that?" The old me would have comforted him. She would have crossed the room. She would have said he was not a monster. She would have given him a softer version of the truth so he could sleep. I let the silence answer first, then I said, "You live with it the same way I did, one day at a time, except now you don't get to use me to make it easier." He closed his eyes. "I loved you." I believed that he believed it. That was not enough. "You loved how I stayed," I said. He opened his eyes. I stood. "Olivia, is there any world where we find our way back?" There it was, the final door he expected me to leave unlocked. I thought of the delivery room, the hallway, the roses, the blank father line, the camera footage, the porch, the courtroom, Lily's hand wrapped around my finger at 3 in the morning while the whole world narrowed to her breathing. "No," I said, one word, "clean, irreversible." Ethan covered his mouth with one hand. I picked up my folder and walked out. Daniel was waiting near the elevators. He did not ask how it went. He saw my face and pressed the button outside. The sun was bright enough to hurt. At home, Lily was with Marcus on a blanket in the living room, kicking at a soft toy shaped like a moon. Noah had installed shelves in the nursery at my house after the locks were changed, but I had not moved back immediately. I needed the Bennett house for a while. I needed noise, brothers, bad tea, someone else hearing the doorbell. Eventually, I returned to my mother's house, not the Walker home, mine. I repainted the nursery, not because the old color was ugly, because I wanted my hands on the walls again without remembering who had failed to come upstairs. I chose warm yellow. Daniel said it looked like sunlight. Marcus said it looked like butter. Noah said Marcus had no taste. Lily laughed for the first time during that argument. A real laugh, tiny, startled. "Perfect," I cried then, not because I was sad, because joy had returned without asking Ethan's permission. Months later, on the day Lily turned 1, Ethan attended her birthday party for exactly 90 minutes under the parenting schedule. He brought a gift, arrived on time, and did not bring Vanessa. He watched Lily smash cake with both hands and smiled like it hurt. When he left, he paused at the gate. "Thank you for letting me come," he said. "This is your scheduled time." I replied. He nodded. He understood the correction, not generosity, structure, not forgiveness, boundaries. After he drove away, Margaret's car remained parked across the street for 3 full minutes before leaving. She had not been invited. Inside, Lily grabbed my necklace and babbled nonsense with absolute confidence. My brothers argued in the kitchen about candles. Rachel sent a text, "Happy birthday to Lily, and to the life you chose." I looked around my house. There were no roses in vases, no apologies waiting to be believed, no man turning my pain into an inconvenience, just sunlight on the floor, cake on my daughter's cheeks, and my own name on every locked door. That night, after everyone left, I carried Lily to the nursery and sat in the rocking chair I had assembled alone while pregnant. For a long time I had thought that chair was proof of loneliness. Now it felt like proof of strength. Lily fell asleep against me, heavy and warm. I whispered, "We left before he looked back." Her fingers curled into my shirt, and thank God we did.